Hello and welcome to Sunflower Philosophy Tarot. My name is Juliana, and today's Timeless Pick a Card reading is about strengthening or improving a relationship in your life. So this can be a relationship where you're currently maybe having some issues, or it could be a relationship that you just want to deepen in some way. You just want to explore further, or see if there's just anything that you can do right now to help improve that relationship. So we're going to keep it very open to whatever comes through. And before I get into the rest of the reading, I do want to say that if you like what you see here, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out our personal reading offers on sunflowerphilosophy.com. The link is in the description. So yeah, that's always there for you to take a look at. But now, without further ado, I would like to get into our brief centering exercise that we always do before these readings. If you would like to skip ahead and you're not interested in doing a little meditation to get you centered before you pick your group, then the timestamps are in the description and the pinned comment, so you can go skip ahead to your group or to the group selection and do that. But if you like to stick around for the brief centering exercise, let's get into it. Just take a moment to get yourself comfortable. Take a moment to just notice if you how you're feeling right now. If you are driving or doing anything that requires your attention, please skip this for now and come back at a different time when it's better for you. But for those of you who are ready, you can allow yourself to close your eyes and drop into your heart space. For this one, just take your attention down into the center of your chest, or specifically you can focus on your heart, and also notice your breathing. And as you inhale and exhale, imagine that you are breathing in through your heart and exhaling through your heart. And we're going to set the intention to get really connected with our heart space, because that's often a good place to connect with other people from. And today's reading is all about connecting with another person or people in our life, and how we can do that more effectively. So now that you have set the intention to connect with your heart space, you can imagine that as you inhale, you're taking in all the goodness, all the nutrients and the good things that you need to succeed in this moment. And as you exhale, you're releasing anything that is stale, that is ready to go, that you simply do not need anymore. You can just imagine with each inhale, you're taking in that good stuff. And with each exhale, you're releasing anything that is no longer serving you. And as you become more and more relaxed, know that all you need to do right now is just listen to the sound of my voice and allow yourself to relax even further with every word as you connect more deeply with your inner knowing, with your intuition, and you settle into your most authentic self in the here and now. You know that you always have the ability to connect with your intuition, and that you and only you know what is truly aligned and true for you. You trust yourself, and you always align with the messages that are truly meant for you, and you easily discard the messages that are not, knowing that when there's something of value for you, you will never miss it. You will always notice the valuable message, and you will always hear what you're meant to hear for your highest good in each and every moment. You are a deeply intuitive person in your own right and in your own way. And you connect now with your intuition in whatever way it comes most naturally to you. You trust yourself. And you know that you are a wonderful and worthy and well-intentioned person. You are able to connect with your best self anytime you need to in order to act and think and express yourself in whatever way is most authentic and true for you. And I set the intention along with you that whatever messages you receive today will come to you in the best way for your highest good at this time. And whatever messages you receive today will indeed help you reaffirm, strengthen, and improve in some way an important relationship in your life, whichever one that you are thinking of. And you will know which relationship that you are being called to focus on at this time. Thank you for joining me for this reading. Thank you for taking the time to center yourself. If you would like to continue meditating a bit longer, then feel free to pause the video and come back when you're ready. But for those of you who are ready to get to the rest of the reading, we will move over to the group selection in just a moment. All right. Welcome everyone to the group selection for this reading. As I mentioned in the intro, this reading is all about a relationship that is important to you that you're thinking of right now, how to improve it, how to strengthen it. And we're focused really on what you can do in this relationship or what you need to know in order to strengthen or improve this relationship at this time. That's what we're really focused on. So you can feel like whatever messages come through here, you're acting from a place of your own power and you're focusing on your role, because that's the only part of a relationship that you can really control is yourself and how you respond, how you act, and how you think and feel about everything going on. So that's what we're doing today. As I mentioned as well, you can use this to ask about a relationship where you're currently having some kind of issue or disconnect or something like that, but you can also just ask out of curiosity of a relationship just to see what comes through, or a relationship that's going well that you want to continue to deepen and strengthen. We're going to leave it open for whatever kinds of messages want to come out. So as you can see, also I want to say, you can always, of course, select more than one group as well. You can ask about more than one relationship. This is that kind of reading that you can kind of like just ask about every group, see if there's a person that comes through in every group for you. It's really up to you how you do this. But we do have 4 groups here today, and as you can see, 4 different markers to choose from. I'm going based on color, so I figure that you can either choose your group based on like which color reminds you or resonates most with the person you're thinking of, or the relationship you're thinking of, or which one you like best, or just whichever one you feel most drawn to for reasons that you might not understand right now. It doesn't matter. Of course, use your intuition in whatever way it comes through to you. And without further ado, let me introduce the groups. So for group 1, we have this eggplant color. That's what it's called, eggplant. Ooh, can you see that? Yeah. So we have this purple eggplant color. For group 2, we have this nice Merlot. It's Merlot. It's like a deep red. For group 3, we have this nice blue sapphire color. Sapphire. And for group 4, we have this lovely caramel color. Caramel, let's see. Hopefully you can see that. Excellent. So take all the time you need to choose. Pause the video if you like. The timestamps are in the description and the pinned comment below. Yeah, and I will see you over in your reading. Hi, group 1. If you selected the eggplant color, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about a specific relationship that you would like to improve or just deepen, strengthen in some way. So I'm coming into this presuming that you have someone specific on your mind that you're focusing on, but of course you can always just like let whatever comes through come through and see if it's someone in your life or a relationship in your life, or this sounds like good advice for a specific situation. But with that being said, how we're going to do this is I have a card to represent like the sort of biggest theme or biggest piece of advice that wants to come through first, and then we're going to get more tarot cards to get more details and maybe even more advice depending on what wants to come through. And then we're going to close with a few quote cards of mine, just with messages any additional messages. We're going to see if there's like a message from this person, and also just in general a closing message for you for advice. So that's what we're going to do. So without further ado, let's flip over your Astro Oracle card. So the card that you got is number 56 with progressions and the keyword journey. So that is essentially what this card is about. Like, progressions is about the journey of something, not just the outcome of a situation. So your main piece of advice in this relationship that you're asking about is coming through as just like letting things unfold, honestly. Like, that's the main thing that's coming through, is that this is a situation that is currently unfolding, and time will tell. Time will tell. It keeps coming through. Time will tell. So it feels to me, and this could really apply to anything. This could apply to any kind of situation. It feels to me that there's a possibility this is maybe a newer relationship, or that, and this could be any kind of relationship, by the way, not specifically love or romance. I didn't mention that before. I thought that was kind of like implied, but yeah, it could be familial, friend, any kind of relationship. But it feels like there could be either, this could be a newer relationship, or it could be one that has like started on a new path, or reached a new milestone or something like that. And there could be an energy from you, or maybe both of you in general, of wondering where this is going, wondering how long this is going to last, or how long a certain part of the relationship is going to last, or something that you're both going through right now is going to last. And this is a message about literally like just letting things play out, being in the moment with the relationship, and not getting too ahead of yourself at this time. That's what this really feels like. Also, I want to say, with your color that's coming through, eggplant, first of all, like, eggplants could be significant. Also, I hesitate to say this, but of course the first thing that came to mind with like this, with the word eggplant, was like eggplant emoji, and like what people use that for. That probably won't apply to everyone, but if it's coming through, then that might be like some kind of confirmation, or just some kind of like inside joke or something with someone here. So like, I just had to say it. But also the color purple in general, it can be a color of intuition, of royalty, like dignity, I just heard. I don't even know if that's like traditionally associated with color purple, but that's what I'm getting. And also the color of the mat that I use and the tarot cards we're using today is purple. So there's a lot of purple happening in general in this reading. So, yeah, I don't know. There could be, maybe for some of you, you are into like divination practices, or the relationship that you're asking about involves that. Like, maybe you're both into that, or the other person's into that, or something like that. So that could be an aspect of the relationship that's being highlighted. But also handling yourself, I think, with dignity and self-respect as well in the situation is a message that's coming through here. So with that being said, let's get more information. Let's dive a little deeper into this and find out more about how you can strengthen this relationship. So let's get more information for group 1. And group 1, I also want to say that the number 56 is coming out here with progressions journey. So 5, 6, 56, or 11 could be important numbers for you. All right, so group 1, how can group 1 improve or strengthen this relationship that they're asking about? How can group 1 really improve or strengthen this relationship they're asking about? Okay, we have the 9 of Swords. Okay, how can group 1 strengthen the relationship they're asking about? The Chariot. Okay. King of Cups. The Tower. Is that reversed? Or yeah, that's reversed. And then let's get one more. Page of Wands. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Page of Cups and Temperance both coming out on the bottom of the deck. So this one kind of fell out of the middle and then I put it on the bottom. While we keep that in, yeah, I think we'll put it over here. Because that kind of makes sense with the messages that are coming through. It goes with journey progressions, like letting things play out. Letting things play out is like the biggest message here. Like, I feel like I could probably just like end the reading with that. Like, it's like, yeah, just let things play out. But I think we do want to get into a little bit more specifics here. So the way this is coming through, actually, let me move these a little bit more into the light because it's kind of dim over in that corner. Well, I think if I sit down, it's better. Okay. So group 1. With the 9 of Swords coming out first, this could be a group where you're experiencing quite a bit of anxiety and overthinking when it comes to this relationship. Now, this could be also just how you experience life in general. Maybe this is the kind of state that you've been in general, but for some of you, this actually might be relationship specific. So there could be a lot of like second guessing. This can be any kind of relationship, so it doesn't have to be romantic specifically, but I'm getting the specific example of like when you're talking to someone new and it's like, okay, they didn't text me back right away, like, are they mad at me? Or like, really getting into your head about, like anxious attachment, what people call like anxious attachment, when you're like, if you're like, overthinking, like over analyzing something that they said, or going over and over in your head about things that you said, and wondering if this person really likes you or if they don't, or thinking, oh, this person's great, they love me, and then thinking, no, this person's terrible, or they hate me, or I messed up, or something like that. Like just a whole bunch of anxious thoughts in your head. And that's why I feel like this message of letting things play out is coming through, because it feels like your mind is getting ahead of itself in some way in this relationship, even if it's not a romantic relationship and that's not the specific scenario that's the case for you. Like, there's some way in which you're trying to predict the future out of a fear of what's to come, out of a fear of, and it feels like that fear is not necessarily based on the current situation, but based on either fears based on things that have happened in your past, or fears of things that could happen. Catastrophizing is a lot of the time something that comes through, especially with the Tower card in reverse here. Catastrophizing, you might be catastrophizing a lot about what could happen, what could be, and it seems to tend towards the side of negativity, of things going wrong, things going awry, and projecting bad things in the future. So that's why we are focused in this relationship on getting you present, on getting you in your body, and getting you more control over your emotions. With the Chariot and the King of Cups here, both of those embody, I feel like, what you need to embody right now, which is strong and steady energy, feeling steady and composed within yourself. And with the Chariot, sometimes I do get like a push and pull between two different sides of you, and so you might be experiencing that push and pull, but I see the Chariot here as someone who has these different sides of themselves well in hand. Like, so what you're tasked with right now is learning how to bring the maybe for some of you, you're experiencing like the desire to like cut off ties versus the desire to like strengthen and deepen this relationship, and it's kind of like which one should I do? And you might be swinging to extremes, and it's not about which one you decide in the moment. Right now, what it is about getting to the root of the conflict there. Why do you have these two opposing instincts in you, and where are they coming from? And often they will be coming from the same place. Like, there's two different sides of you that want the same thing, but think that there's different ways of going about it, right? One side of you might say running away is safer. One side of you might say getting closer is safer, or at least more aligned with what I want. And what you both want what both sides want is safety and comfort, and to feel good, to feel secure. And you're going about, both sides are thinking that you have to go about finding security, feeling secure in different ways. So what your goal is, what you're tasked with, is feeling secure within yourself, really focusing on you and your countenance in this relationship, as opposed to the other person and what they're doing and what certain things that they say mean or whatnot. And it's not to say that those things aren't important, but it's going to be a lot harder for you to interpret the other person's signals and the actual truth of the relationship when you're not centered in your own truth and your own power and feeling like you are sovereign, like this King of Cups, you're sovereign and have control over your emotional state. That's what I'm feeling here. And again, this can be any kind of relationship context, because you can overthink any kind of relationship and get in your head about whether or not you're, doing the right thing, or the other person's doing the right thing, or, who's treating who right here, or where should we be going with this relationship in a lot of different contexts. But the most important thing is that you are really needing to get secure within yourself. You're really needing to remain present, to allow things to progress, to allow things to grow organically without feeling like it feels like there's a need to control, like if you sense that something could be going wrong, or the part of you that catastrophizes, imagine something is going wrong in the moment, you might jump to action without taking a moment to get yourself centered and get yourself out of that anxious state. And when you act from that anxious state, it might exacerbate the anxiety rather than even improve it. And with the Page of Wands here as well, with this what we want to cultivate here really is a playful, adventurous attitude rather than a fearful, I almost said fearful, avoidant one, but that was kind of the feeling I was getting with the Chariot and the Nine of Swords, like fearful, avoidant, and like going back and forth between running away and getting closer, and feeling anxious, and yet also feeling like I want to get out of the situation, just like a real push and pull. And I do feel like this is coming from within yourself. So whether or not this person is exhibiting any similar behaviors or is doing any, I feel like it's more important that you figure out how to address that within yourself than it is necessarily to figure that out with this person, because it does feel like this is a very, very internal process for you that you can address for yourself, especially because I do feel like for a lot of you, this is a relationship that's either new and you don't necessarily have those like foundations of communication in place yet, which that doesn't mean you can't establish them. And that can be part of you getting good with yourself, is like communicating more openly about certain aspects of your inner workings. But if that doesn't make sense for your relationship, or maybe this is someone you don't have a lot of contact with on a regular basis, maybe you're much more in your own space, or they're not in your life constantly, it is something that really is more about you and your relationship with yourself, and how that relationship with yourself that you have that is a bit tumultuous, that where you have this push and pull going on, needs to be resolved and worked on. And again, like, other people can be involved and help, and you can let people know about what you're going through, especially if this is a relationship that actually does have more history and more foundation, and you trust this person and want to work things through with them. Like, yes, bringing them in on the conflict that you're going through, the anxiety that you're dealing with, can definitely be good. But I feel like for a lot of you, that's not necessarily the kind of relationship we're talking about. But with the Page of Wands here, we're cultivating more playfulness, right? That's your goal, is to feel less anxious about the future and more adventurous about where it will lead. And more in the journey that you're on, and enjoying the journey for what it is, enjoying the potential mountains and hills and valleys for what they are, seeing the potential experience of things that could even, like, you might be like afraid of conflict in a certain relationship. It's like, but if you do experience some conflict, it's a new opportunity and experience for you to learn how to navigate that more effectively, and it might even be an opportunity to deepen this relationship further. So approaching that with more curiosity rather than catastrophizing. Like, instead of assuming that a disagreement is going to lead to a breakup or to a falling out, wonder about how this disagreement, this conflict, could actually serve to bring you closer together, even if at first it feels messy and scary. And practicing this more adventurous mindset, this more balanced mindset as well, tempering your more extreme fears and thoughts with a more balanced take, and saying, even if you don't know what the truth is of a situation, if you find yourself continually, when you don't know what's going on in a situation, continually jumping to the worst case scenario, pulling that back, reining that in and saying, okay, but I don't have really a foundation for that belief. So what are some other possibilities that might also make sense, might even make more sense in this situation? And just start to show yourself all the different possibilities that could be occurring in a situation when you don't have the full truth, instead of filling in like the worst case scenario, right? And honestly, it's really as simple as that. I do feel like this has a lot to do with your inner workings and how willing and able you are to just like let life happen, as opposed to trying to control life and fearing the possibilities, as opposed to being more playful about the possibilities, being more excited about the possibilities. And it can be at first it can feel difficult to undo some of that more anxious thinking. And of course there are different avenues you might take to address that if you're not already. So if you're not already seeing, a therapist or something like that could be an option. But there's also so many different things that you can do, ways that you can work with that to ease some of that overthinking and things like that. Like one of the reasons that I am a hypnotist is because I've dealt with a lot of like stress and overthinking in the past that has helped with, because I've been able to guide my subconscious to a more settled, stable state through the practice that I have related to hypnosis. So there's like a lot of different ways, meditations and things like that, journaling, intention setting, all different kinds of ways. But as long as you pick something simple, pick something easy, or if you feel like you need like a really like a high power, like bigger option, yeah, maybe you go work with someone, maybe you do like a course or a class, or see someone, a therapist or something like that. Like maybe you do something like that. But if you don't feel like you want to take that big leap, or you're ready for that big leap, or you even need that, just making one small change in your day-to-day practice, when one small adjustment in how you respond or react when you feel your thoughts starting to spiral, just like one small way to disrupt that. If you can come up with just something and you can implement that again and again and again, eventually you will have disrupted the pattern enough that it will break down, and it will be so much easier for you to reinforce more positive ways of thinking, or at least less catastrophic ways of thinking. And that will ultimately, inevitably improve this relationship and any others that may come along down the line, because you won't have the defenses up or the fear, and you won't be jumping to conclusions. You won't be projecting into the future and being afraid of what you see, or getting too invested in a future that's not right in front of you, that you might have to build in the present to create. And that's really the thing, is like, we want you in the present. We want you in the present moment more than anything. And it's going to take some practice and time, but it's possible, and it's really essential for the unfolding of the relationship here, whatever relationship that might be. So that being said, let's close out then with I'm going to get a quote card for a message from this person to you, and then another quote card that can just close out this reading. Put a little cap on it. So for group 1, what is a message that the person that they've asked about, the relation they've asked about, what is a message from that person for group 1? And this will be from like their higher self, so even if you don't know them very well, or they're not in your life, or they're not really in a capacity to give you a message like this, this will be from their higher self, something that, you is useful for you to know in your highest good. So what is a message from group 1's person, please? What's a message that group 1's person wants them to know? Okay, well that's 3, but I am going to take them. So there's 3 messages. And then I'm just going to ask for if there's anything else that wants to come through from this other pile of quote cards that will close out and conclude what we've got going on here. These are not easy to shuffle, guys, so bear with me. All right. Okay, actually, no. We're going to shuffle it. All right. Group 1, what is a final message to close out group 1's reading, if any? Is there a final message here to close out this reading for group 1 about this relationship? That's too many. We're not taking that. is there a final message to close out? All right, there's two. There's two. We're going to take that. Okay. So first we're going to take these messages that are from this person or their higher self that are going to be in this just the best interest of you and this relationship. So we have this card here with these pink and blue lines with, which is kind of like pink and blue, purple, like, yeah. Purple is definitely a significant color for this group. And this says, you're under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago, from Alan Watts, which is a really freeing thing, I think, to say to someone who might have trouble overthinking, especially because you might have trouble overthinking your thoughts and actions and the way that you come across. And this is a reminder that no matter what expectation, some of you also might project expectations that you think this person has on yourself, whether you have evidence for that or not. And this is reminding you that you're not obligated to be anyone in particular. You're not obligated to maintain a certain persona. The only person who obligates you to do anything like that is you. And so you can choose to just not be so hard on yourself or not overthink your actions and everything. And also that, like, reminder that life is a journey, and there's a real tendency, it feels like, in this group to, like, take a thought or take a situation and run with it and maintain the energy of that situation in the present and into the future. But this is encouraging you to be much more moment to moment and let things go. When something might bother you in the moment and you might get upset or this or that, and you might express yourself, and then you move on and you don't dwell on it. This is an energy of learning not to dwell on things, not to take the energy that happened in one moment into the next moment and the next moment and the next moment, especially when it's not helpful for you, not healthy for you, and just not a good fun energy that you want to take with you. Then we also have this card, more purple and blue. There is a correspondence between the microcosm and the macrocosm. The stars are alive, child. Did you know that? Everything out there is alive, and there are grand purposes abroad. The universe is full of intentions, you know. Everything happens for a purpose. From The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. Yeah, there's a bit of, like, if you're getting out of your head and feeling like you have to control things so much, and trusting in, like, the greater, like, structure and organization of the universe, the idea that the universe, whether you believe this fully or not, it might behoove you to cultivate a belief system around the idea that the universe has its own intelligence and intentions and has the best of intentions for you and everyone. And so you can trust more in life and overanalyze things less, and know that, yes, you need to take actions and responsibility for yourself in your life sometimes, but not to the detriment of your mental health and of your enjoyment of life, right? Also allow yourself to accept that you don't have to have control over everything, that your nervous system might be elevated at a lot of the time now, and that's telling you that you have to be on guard and you have to be watching and purposeful at all times, but you don't have to live that way forever, and it's time to start to learn how to bring that down several notches and learn how to live in a more calm and relaxed state of mind. And that also setting intentions, as I mentioned before, setting an intention and letting it go and trusting that intention will play itself out can be one way that you help yourself do this, because you can just say, all right, I'm like, when you find yourself overthinking something, you just say, all right, I'm not going to overthink this. I'm just going to set the intention. This is what I want. This is how I want, like, what I want to invite more of in my life. Like, for example, I set the intention that this relationship will work out in the best way possible for all parties, no matter what that may be, and then let it go. And then just let life unfold and trust that that's unfolding no matter what happens. Like, practicing that. That's also coming through with this word intentions being underlined here. And then we have, and these are I forgot that these are, like, from the person that you're also asking about. But yeah, I also feel like that's a really, like, going back to the first message that came through, like, you're under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. Like, this person from their higher self is, like, letting you know, like, you are not obligated to be any particular person for me. Like, even if their 3D self, their physical self, would have certain expectations, or maybe like, which I feel like for a lot of you maybe they don't. I think for a lot of you this person doesn't have the kind of expectations that you imagine that they do, and or like the ones that they might have are not the ones that you imagine. But this person's higher self is reminding you, like, no matter who you think I am, no matter how important I am to you or not, like, you're under no obligation to be any kind of person for me. You know, be the person you want to be for you, and be whoever you want to be in this moment, and forget about me. Forget about me. You know, don't use me as a limiting factor on who you can be and what you can do and how you can think and how you can feel in each and every moment. And then on a broader sense, their higher self's also reminding you that, you know, things happen for a reason, that you can trust in the intelligence of the way that things are playing out, and you can let go. You can your intentions matter, and on some level, whether, you know, in their present 3D self or just in their higher self, they understand and they know that your intentions matter and are for the best, and you don't have to overanalyze or overthink everything that you do, because I don't think that they do. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't get the sense that this person overthinks as much as you do, but I could be wrong. And then we have, because we're not, this reading isn't about them, so it's a sense I'm getting, but might not be the case for everyone. But the last message we have from them is this card, and it says, "A life lived in fear is a life half lived," from All the Crooked Saints by Maggie Stiefvater. Yeah, and so again, this encouragement to release yourself from fear and live your life. And if living your life means that you continue to be aligned with this person, and you know, your relationship with this person moves forward and gets deeper or just continues being strong, then that's great. But don't live your life in fear of losing this person. Don't live your life in fear of messing something up with this person, is really what they're saying. Like, that's not worth it. Yeah. And then just the remaining messages to close out your reading, we have this card, these like steps. And this is reminding me of just like one step at a time. Oh, the Jordin Sparks song. Yeah, the Jordin Sparks song, one step at a time, is coming through. Take one step at a time. There's no need to rush. Yeah, I'm not going to sing it right now because I cannot. I'm not going to be able to find the note. But one step at a time, there's no need to rush. It's like learning to fly or falling in love. It's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. Yes, it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. Is basically, yeah, that makes sense with everything that we've seen so far today. And this card, this quote says, "Expectation wasn't just about what people expected of you, it was about what you expected of yourself." And we were talking about expectation. And we were talking about expectations that you might have for like the future, or creating expectations in your head, but also expectations that you have for yourself or that you imagine others have for you. And anytime, no matter if someone gives you evidence that they have a certain expectation that you think that they have of you, no matter, forget about them for a second. Like, you are the only one who holds yourself accountable to your expectations. So if you don't want to have a certain expectation placed upon you, then don't enforce that on yourself. You know, don't take the other person's expectation too seriously. Yeah, and focus more on what you expect of yourself and where those expectations are coming from right now. And then we have this card here. Beautiful hair. Maybe you have beautiful hair. Maybe someone in this group just like really loves your hair. This says, "When she drew, she didn't feel as if she worked with only charcoal and paper. In drawing a portrait, her medium was the soul itself." Also from a Brandon Sanderson book, this one from The Way of Kings. Yeah, so drawing to me is a activity that I do that gets me very present, that has me very much in the moment. So for some of you, that could be a very literal message of like drawing or doing something with your hands will help you get out of your head, will help you get more into your body and just into the present moment. So drawing, knitting, and you don't have to be good at these things. These don't have to be things that you already do, but finding a hobby or a habit, I've just heard, that involves like doing something with your hands or being like very focused, being very in the moment is going to be helpful for this. Or just doing whatever it is that you already do more. Or when you find yourself spiraling, like remembering that you have these hobbies to turn to. And just getting very involved in the moment. But also, maybe for some of you, a very specific exercise you can do is drawing a self-portrait. Drawing something that will help you get more in touch with what your soul is, like with who you really are and what you really believe about yourself, you know, instead of being in your head about like overanalyzing who you are. Start to draw it on the paper. Let your subconscious take the wheel and show you what you truly believe and who you truly are. And maybe you want to sit down and do a drawing, and it can be like, you don't have to be an artist to do this. The cool thing is, like, you just sit down with whatever supplies you have, however many or however few, and you just see what comes out. And it doesn't have to be good. It can be more abstract. It can be like so many different things. And then you get to look at it and see what the image is telling you. And it's almost like your own form of divination. You know, a lot of these quote cards are kind of that for me, you know? And that could be a really cool exercise if you're willing to do it. That helps you reveal yourself and how you truly feel about yourself and what you truly believe. And I would encourage you to focus on yourself first, especially in this group. This feels like you need to really bring your attention more on yourself when you're getting into this like mental spiral that you seem to get into, that like we're looking to combat, and we're looking to bring, you know, more presence to you. But you can also do this exercise with where you draw the other person and you see what comes through about how you really feel about them, how you like drawing out some of your deeper intuition, so you can start to get a bit better picture about how you actually feel about this person and who they actually are to you, and what your intuition is actually picking up about them. And that could be something that's really interesting to do as well. Well, with that all being said, group 1, that's all I have for you today. So I hope this resonated. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear how this resonated for you, what you think of all this. If you're going to do any of the exercises that I mentioned, if you've got a hobby that you want to get into, or if you do the drawing exercise, I'd love to hear about that. And if you're interested in a personal reading, you can visit sunflowerphilosophy.com. The link is in the description. And I work with my mom, and we're both certified consulting hypnotists as well. And my mom does some human design stuff. So if you're interested in any of that too, that's also at the link in the description. So you can check that out. Thank you again for watching. Have a wonderful life. And I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye. Hi, group 2. If you selected Merlot, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about a relationship in your life that you'd like to improve or deepen. And as I mentioned, this could be someone that you currently are having like some issues with, or it could be someone that you just want to deepen things with, strengthen things with. We'll see what comes out. But we are going to take these Astro Oracle cards first to initiate the message and bring through the strongest themes that are being highlighted for this relationship's highest good. And then we'll get into tarot to get some further explanations, further messages, and then we'll close with quote cards about quote cards that I made, which will be messages from this person's higher self, just in case there's anything that they want to let you know to further this message, and then just anything else that wants to close it out. But without further ado, let's get into your reading. So, first things first, actually, I just want to say, with the color that you chose, Merlot, this could be you or someone else, or the other person in this relationship could be an enjoyer of wine. It doesn't have to specifically be Merlot, but it could be. But I'm also just getting like a very rich, indulgent, and rich doesn't have to mean like literally rich, although like if that resonates, sure. But like just rich, deep, indulgent, like those are words that are coming through when I'm looking at this color. So those could be related to this relationship, this person, just because some kind of confirmation. But let's get into first the Astro Oracle cards that will tell us, just to kick things off, how can you improve or deepen this relationship. So we have Solar Calm with Clarify, number 16. And then we have number 34, North Node Future. Actually, I'm going to put them like this. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. Clarify the future. So, oh, by the way, this could be any kind of relationship. It doesn't have to be like romantic. Like I didn't say that, but like I didn't specify the kind of relationship. So I just want you to know that, in case something comes through that's like a relationship comes through for you that's not the one you're thinking of or whatever, and you're like, is that right, or can it be about that? Yeah, like I'm not being specific about the kind of relationship. But anyway, there's something that you need to clarify about the future with this person, which does sound like it could be very much about a romantic relationship, because often those are about figuring out the future and where things are going, and like, are we going to do this next or do that next? So it could totally be that kind of situation for you, but it does not have to be. There might just be something in particular. Maybe you're working on a project together, a business together, something about the future of this relationship, or something about a future that you're creating involving this person that needs to be clarified. And in this case, you might need to have a conversation about it, especially if this is a case where you are feeling like you need clarity and maybe the other person hasn't brought this up, but you feel like you really need to bring something up, or you really need clarity around something, then this is encouraging you to open that conversation, that it is maybe time for you to have that conversation with someone about where things are going or about what you want to do next in some venture. Nope. If it's important, it'll come back to me. There was like something on the edge of my intuition that was wanting to come through. But it didn't quite make it. So solar calm, clarify, north node, future. Something else that's coming through actually is, it does feel like in this relationship, a conversation would be necessary or warranted, or definitely in the works to happen about the future. But one thing that you might also want to do is get clarity for yourself about your own individual future, what you truly want, before you go to this person and start this conversation. Now, it'll be up to you, whatever intuitively speaks to you. But if you have your own confusion, if you're like, I'm not sure if I'm solid on like where I want to go and where I want my life to go, it might behoove you to start with yourself and maybe get quiet with yourself, take some time to journal, meditate on it, and contemplate it, and then begin this conversation with them as well, if you just feel like you're not clear on that for yourself yet. Okay, so that being said, how can group 2 strengthen or improve this relationship that they're asking about? How can group 2 strengthen or improve this relationship they're asking about? Ace of Wands. How can group 2 strengthen or improve this relationship they're asking about? Tower. What? Interesting. How can group 2 strengthen or... Two of Swords. Okay. How can group 2 strengthen or improve this relationship? 3 of Cups. And one more card. The Star. I don't know. Hopefully I don't have to cover her up. I mean, there's no, like details, right? And on the bottom of the deck, we have the 3 of Wands. Wow, this makes so much sense. So many cards about like the future, about where things are going. It's also a very opposite message to group 1, where there was an encouragement to really be in the moment and like not overthink things, and to just let things play out as they will. This feels like you are at a space in a place in this relationship where in some way, shape, or form you're needing to make a decision about the next step, about where you're going next. And obviously, because you're asking about a relationship, it involves the other person in some way. And so you're needing to initiate, with the Ace of Wands here as well, some kind of new venture, new journey. And, okay, one way I'm seeing the Ace of Wands in the Tower here is this, like this, again, does not have to be romantic specifically, but this is I'm seeing this as the Ace of Wands is either like initiating a new journey, a new step in this journey, or the Tower initiating a breakup, an ending, a breaking off of things. So that is one interpretation that's coming through, and like deciding which way you're going. So like, or like with the Ace of Wands and the Tower together, it can also be like you being like, okay, this is going to end, this tower is going to crumble, we're not going to continue this, I'm going to go on a new adventure, we're going to go on new adventures, we're going to go separate adventures. Or with the Two of Swords, like celebrating a bright future and like the future that we want to create together. 3 of Cups, sorry. So it's almost like you're deciding which way to go. That's what this feels, and with the 3 of Wands in the bottom, it's just like, it's like about the future. It's about where you're going, where you're headed. What intentions are you setting? What plans are you making for the future? And it's time for you to decide. And in your decision, it does seem like one way, in one direction, you're like starting fresh, starting new. And in another direction, you are like celebrating what you have and creating plans for more. Like you are like looking to the future, feeling like the future of the situation is bright. And like I honestly feel like either decision, while there might be like more emotional baggage tied to one over the other, like I feel like either decision is actually potentially very good. It really just depends on what you truly feel is right and what you truly want in your soul. Like, does a fresh start, just like a clean break, a like dismantling of where you're at now feel right, feel good for you? Do you feel like you just want to start over somewhere new? Or are you like having a good time? Are you like, let's keep this going, let's keep this up, let's start imagining like where this is gonna go, start building on our hopes and dreams. So like I know I gave the romantic relationship example, but I'm also getting the example of like if you're working on a project or you're business partners with someone, right? Are you deciding to continue this partnership? Are you deciding to continue working together? Or are you like, you know what? No, I want to go off on my own creative direction. And I think like we did all that we could do together and we're good. Like I'm done. Or yeah, you know what? We have some good things going. I'm still having fun with this. I still see a bright future for this. So let's keep creating. Let's keep making more projects. Let's keep working together. And it's really quite simple. It's like which one feels better to you, which feels right. And if you aren't sure yet, that's where this need to clarify comes in. And I feel like this happens through both a contemplation within yourself, getting clear within yourself on how you're feeling in the moment, and also having a conversation with the other person and honestly asking, okay, like honestly saying, okay, like this is how I'm feeling right now. Like I'm feeling like this, like I want this for my future, I want that. How are you feeling? And I think in some cases, like listen, in some cases you might be like, when you consult yourself and you get really clear with yourself, if you reach a place of clarity with yourself and you're like, no, I know which way feels better to me, then you're being urged to make that decision, not wait to consult with the other person. Like obviously tell them, obviously clue them in, obviously have an honest and open conversation. But if you already know, like don't leave the conversation open for, well, maybe we could do the other thing. No, if you know that you want to leave or you know you want to stay, like be upfront and be honest about that. And the other person needs to have their own clarity and their own reaction and response and their own desires as well. So, you know, leave it open to hear them out and to hear what they truly want. And it might be the same as you and it might be different, but you have to be clear within yourself. And if you don't feel clear within yourself because you're also, maybe you feel like you need to have this conversation to clarify things, like to see, okay, well, if this person's on the same page as me, then yeah, let's both do this. Or if this person's on a different page than me, like let's do that. If you need to have that conversation for the clarity, have that conversation and be honest about like your misgivings or concerns or your hopes and dreams in either direction. And just be like, hey, listen, like this is what I'm feeling. This is what I want. These are things that I'm maybe afraid of or I'm not sure are working. And see how they respond. See if they're open to working on certain things with you, or see if they're feeling like, you know, and that's where I'm really at. Like either way, either decision you make, it should be joyful for you. It should be, I'm not saying there might not be a little bit of pain or strife, or especially if you are deciding to break something off and the other person's not necessarily on board with that. But like at the end of the day, it should feel either like a freedom and like a fresh start, or it should feel like a really joyous occasion, like something you're really excited about, something that you're optimistic about. And you don't have to have everything figured out. You don't have to know that everything's going to work out in the way you want. You just have to know that in this moment feels truly like the best path for you. Yes. But it is time to make a decision. And that's the thing. I think this is where you get real with yourself and you set the intention now that you are going to make this decision. And maybe you give yourself a timeline. Maybe you set in place like a time for you to really go and journal on this, or really like take some time to focus on this and contemplate it. Like that's what I'm feeling. Like you've reached a decision point and it's time for you to make that decision and And yeah, it's like either way, it's going to work out. You'll figure out which path is best for you, but it's just a matter of like actually taking the time to do that, actually making the intention to do that. If I have any like firm advice for you, like it's like, do not let this sit. Do not let this get do not let this get to a place where it becomes a problem rather than a like just like a that's not like the way I want to say it. I would recommend just don't let it linger. Don't let this weigh you down. Don't let this become something that weighs you down. You know, make a clean, concise decision, knowing that, you know, your path might change in the future, but as long as you've made your decision now with the best of intentions and you're set on that path, you know, you can't go wrong, is really what I'm getting. So let's get a message from this person, from their higher self for you. So what's a message from group? Okay, well, all right, well, these 4 fell out. That's fine. Group 2's person's higher self, messages for them, messages for you that are in your best interest. That's the intention. In the best interest of, well, both of you and your relationship, whether that's, you know, moving forward with things or breaking things off or even going in a new direction. Oh, one thing I will say here is I was kind of speaking in terms of like an all or nothing, like either you're moving forward with this person on something or you're breaking things off. But it also could be like, say you're working on a project together, or you've been like working, or maybe even like you're in an apartment or a house with someone. It's like, it could be the difference between like moving away or selling the house or staying and building the future there. Or like, you know, maybe you're still working with this person in partnership with them, but you just scrap the project that you were working on, or you continue with the project and you continue building on it. Like, that's also the kind of thing. Like, it doesn't have to necessarily be about like walking away from this person or staying with this person. Like, it doesn't have to be as literal as that. It can also be like whatever you're working on and building together. It could be about like, you know, either moving away from an aspect of that or continuing and realizing that you're still having fun doing with whatever you're doing. So there's also that to consider. So that being said, what is a closing message, if any, for group 2, just to close this out? Just any closing message that will help really put a cap on this reading for group 2. Okay, thank you. All right, so let's look at their messages first. So we have this card that came out first, this heart and these like really vibrant colors. There's a lot of red here, so red, like the Merlot that came out. And we have vulnerability sounds like truth and feels like courage. Truth and courage aren't always comfortable, but they're never weakness. From Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. Yeah, so this person is acknowledging that it might take some courage to initiate this conversation when you're not sure how the other person feels, and you're also afraid, like, what if I hurt their feelings? No matter, like, what the situation is. You know, what if I hurt their feelings? Or maybe you're feeling like maybe even if you're uncertain, you're afraid to bring your uncertainty to them. But this person in their higher self is letting you know that this is, like, you might feel weak if you have to come forward with some uncertainty, or if you have to be the one to share your truth first or initiate a conversation. But that's not weakness, it's courage. And they're also acknowledging that this might not be the most comfortable conversation, but it's one worth having. And we have this card here with, don't turn away from possible futures before you're certain you don't have anything to learn from them, from Illusions by Richard Bach. Yeah. But it's all that, yeah. Like, basically what we've been talking about. You know, this person, again, acknowledging the reality of the situation that, and this is, I'm intending to get these messages from their higher self, so, like, I don't know what their 3D self will say. And I feel like, and because that's not what this reading is about. It's really about you and focused on your role and what you can do and where you're at. But from their higher self, who may or may not have the same perspective as they do in their 3D self, you know, they're acknowledging, don't turn away from possible futures before you're certain you don't have anything to learn from them. So, you know, there may be something here that's worth holding on to, or like worth continuing, even if it's been a little difficult. but you just have to ask yourself deep within if that feels true. And on the other side of things, like, yeah, also seriously, even if you are pretty sure you're going to go with a certain option, feel free to seriously consider either option, either decision, and really go in and just feel into it and be like, okay, but what if I did seriously choose this? Even if it's not the one that's more appealing, or even if I have resistance to this one option, like, let me just entertain it. Just imagining it, just thinking about it, just considering it does not mean that you have to choose it, but it might mean that you actually genuinely feel stronger about the position that you take or the decision that you make in the end. So it's not, for example, a betrayal of this person to actually consider, like, say you're considering, like, continuing a relationship or breaking up. It's not a betrayal of this person to actually genuinely consider, well, what if we did break up? Like, how would I really feel about that? Like, what would I do? What would I explore? What would my life look like? And genuinely consider that, even if you're like, nah, I do want to stay with them. I do feel like that's what I'm leaning towards. Like, if there's any uncertainty, actually consider it. Actually really think about it. And vice versa. Both options, weigh them evenly, weigh them equally. And then we have this card here, another heart, another like fiery red heart. Sir, in my heart there was a kind of fighting that would not let me sleep, from Hamlet by William Shakespeare. This also could be acknowledging maybe you or this person or both of you are, maybe you're experiencing some kind of tension between the two of you and or within each of you over this decision. And this is another, like, that's why I'm getting the feeling of like this is a decision that needs to be made, because you can't keep, or you don't want to keep having to go back and forth and wondering, like, it's time for you to clarify, it's time for you to make a choice. And so could be acknowledging that they're also feeling that tension, that push and pull, and they're like also wanting to create a conclusion here, to come to a clarity about it. But it can also be acknowledging your experience and where you're at with it, because I do feel like you are feeling this need, this push to actually make the decision, to make the choice, to come to clarity about it, so you're not like in this limbo. And then we have this card from them as well with "The great storm is coming, but the tide has turned," from Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. So also possibly there's some kind of conflict that you've been trying to avoid, maybe by not making this decision. But it's kind of ambiguous. I do feel like some of you might have an idea of what the great storm is and also how the tide has turned, and this is a very specific message for you individually. But in general, I am getting the sense that, like, this is letting you know that all is not as it seems, and some of the things that maybe reasons that you've been avoiding making this decision, like some of the things that you think you've been trying to avoid, or some of the issues that you foresee potentially having if you make a certain decision, is not actually going to turn out the way that you imagine. And this is them letting you know, or maybe also that they're not going to react in a certain negative way that you thought they were, or in a certain way that you thought they were. And this is letting you know that it's not playing out in the exact way that you imagined it playing out. And then to cap off your reading, to close off your reading, we have this card here with "Happiness is a choice. It is not always an easy one." Also from Illusions by Richard Bach. We have 2 Illusions by Richard Bach cards, so you might want to read that as well. Happiness is a choice, but is not always an easy one. Yeah, again, coming right back to that main idea of like choice, of making a choice for your future. And ultimately, this is a reminder to choose happiness, to do your best to choose happiness, but in whatever way that is to you. That doesn't mean that in every moment you're going to be thrilled and you're going to feel amazingly happy. That doesn't mean making sure that you're happy at any cost. But that does mean that, like, to me, it's like happiness is a choice. It's not always an easy one. It's more about, like, building a long-term practice of tuning in with yourself, tuning in with what brings you joy and happiness in your heart, and learning to choose that, and learning to see that as the best choice that you can make for yourself and for everyone involved. And you're being encouraged to choose happiness here, and you know in your heart what choice, what decision is truly in alignment with that happiness. And you're not meant to put anyone else's happiness above yours, because remember, if you choose something to make someone else happy that makes you unhappy, that's not necessarily serving them. Because if their happiness, first of all, if their happiness is contingent on your unhappiness, then what kind of person is that? Is that the kind of attitude that you want to feed in life? Like if someone is happy that you're unhappy? Or if you are trying to choose based on someone else's happiness, but it makes you unhappy, and yet that person has the best of intentions, wants you to be happy in your choice too, but you're secretly unhappy, then the happiness that they believe in is a lie. And that's not really making them happy now, is it? So choose your happiness and trust that it will unfold in a way that is best for everyone. Because maybe that person, if you choose with your happiness and it's initially not aligned with their happiness, they will find something that truly is. And you have given them that opportunity. Well, you've also given yourself the opportunity to choose your happiness. So, yeah, that's your message, group 2. I hope this resonated, and I hope it helped. I hope you enjoyed this message, and I would really love if you like, comment, and subscribe, and I would really love to hear how this resonated with you, and if you are interested in sharing like more about the choice you're trying to make and what it is that you're actually dealing with here. Only if you want to share. I would love to know. Maybe other people in the comments would also have some insight for you as well. But and if you're interested in personal reading, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com, link in the description. And my mom and I work together, and we're both certified consulting hypnotists. So if you're interested in hypnosis, or my mom does human design as well. If you're interested in any of that, also check out the links in the description. But yeah, thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi, Group 3. If you chose the Sapphire marker, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about a relationship that you're seeking to improve or just deepen in some way. So, as I mentioned earlier, this could be someone that you're currently having like some kind of conflict or issue with, or it could just be a relationship you're curious about and want to see if there's anything you can do to make it better. And we are going to start with your Astro Oracle cards. You got 3, just how it fell out, and I was just like, sure, if 3 came out, then you need 3 cards. And that will tell us about the overall themes, like the biggest things that are coming through with regards to strengthening or improving this relationship. And then we'll get into the tarot with more details, more messages, and then we'll get a message from their higher self from my quote cards that I made, and the higher self of this person. And then we'll get another quote card to fully close out the reading, cap it off, and conclude it. So without further ado, let's get into your reading. First of all, with Sapphire, jewelry could be significant. That was coming through, like literally sapphire, like maybe, but also Saphira, the blue dragon from Aragon, is coming through. So that could be a significant story for you or this person. That could be a significant relationship that like resonates with the kind of relationship you have with this person, in the sense of like they have like a really deep like soul bond, like Aragon and his dragon Saphira. Dragons in general could be significant. So just some things to consider if any of those connect with you when you're thinking about this relationship. And like the color blue, like water, emotion. This could be a very deep relationship, or there could be potential for a lot of depth here. So with that being said, let's flip over your cards. We have 3. So we have Leo with Shine, number 5. We have Pisces, Sensitize, with 12. And we have Juno, Partnership, with 31. So we actually have, maybe I'll put this in the middle, because we have 3, 4, and 5. That's how these numbers simplify out. Like 1 and 2 is 3, 3 and 1 is 4, and then Leo is 5. So 3, 4, 5. So there's some kind of maybe progression happening in this relationship. With the partnership card here, first of all, these readings can be about literally any kind of relationship. It just depends on what comes through. I've given examples for various kinds in previous readings, and it could really be anything. This one maybe especially could be some kind of marriage partnership with Juno coming through here, but it does not have to be. It could be a business partnership or something like that, but you're definitely partnered in some way. And with Leo and Pisces coming through, Sensitize and Shine, and with your blue marker here, I'm almost getting a sense that, well, first of all, it could be that one person represents like more Pisces-like energy, like more ethereal, more sensitive, emotional, deep, and someone else represents a more Leo-like energy, more outgoing, out there, or just like more outwardly focused, more center of attention type. Like they come across as a little bit opposite in some ways. But I'm also getting the sense that overall there's a like call to express your sensitivity more openly, like shine and share your deeper thoughts and feelings with each other. That's what I'm getting here. And I feel like also because this partnership card came out, like these readings are focused on you, right? And like what you can do in this relationship, not so much the other person. But with partnership coming out, I almost feel like this is about both of you, like maybe equally you both can benefit from this advice. I wouldn't even be surprised if this is a relationship where maybe both people listen to this reading, or like you listen to it together, or you send it to this person, right? It seems like a relationship where you both might be equally benefiting from this advice. Like it's not just centered on necessarily you, but you both as a unit. So with that being said, let's get more information from the tarot cards. Group 3. So, how can Group 3 strengthen this relationship? How can Group 3 strengthen this relationship? 4 of Cups. How can Group 3 strengthen this relationship? Actually, I'm going to put the 4 of Cups over here because I want to know what that cup is that you might not be seeing. What is that cup? Ooh. What is the cup in the 4 of Cups representing here for Group 3's relationship? What is the 4 of Cups representing that they're maybe not seeing? That's 2 cards. Ace of Swords and the Tower. Wow, the Tower is coming out a lot today. It came out in the other 2 groups too. Actually, I'm going to put it like this. Okay. How can Group 3 strengthen this relationship, please? Okay. And then we have the 5 of Wands and Page of Swords together. And I'm going to get one more because these kind of came out as like a unit. How can Group 3 strengthen this relationship? Queen of Swords. Okay, yeah. And then we have 7 of Cups on the bottom of the deck. Okay, but I'm not sure if we're going to be talking about the 7 of Cups so much. So we've got a lot else going on here. All right, so first things first. Okay, so we talked about potentially needing to like share more, to show more. I feel like show more of your feelings, show more of your truth. That is definitely coming through in these cards. But with the 4 of Cups here, and I got the Ace of Swords and the Tower surrounding it, I feel like there is, there's some kind of epiphany on the way that you're not quite seeing yet, like some kind of clarity that's coming to you that will sort of shake things up for you, maybe break open some kind of like preconceived belief or notion that you had, particularly in this relationship, maybe about this other person, maybe about yourself, or maybe about the relationship in general, that you're not seeing yet, and maybe you need to actually like make the space and time for yourself to receive this, like, you know, declutter your mind, declutter your space, maybe be on your own a bit in order to let this clarity come through. And whatever this clarity is, it will, like this Tower, I'm getting like a release of energy, like a release of maybe certain belief systems or things that are ready to crumble out of your life, which will bring more clarity to also this relationship. Because it does feel like there are aspects of you, also maybe each of you in your relationship, there are aspects of you that are going unseen or unheard and unexpressed. And it's causing some inner turmoil and conflict. And you might not be fully aware of this yet. Like again, like there's some kind of clarity coming to you, and maybe this reading will help provide some of that clarity for you. But it feels like some unexpressed conflict that needs to be addressed, needs to come out. And it might be a matter just of time of letting this clarity, this epiphany come through that will help you move forward, help you find the best way that you can to express it. Because I'm like seeing like this Page of Swords is like, like maybe you are currently in the process of figuring out how to better communicate your truth with your partner. So you might observe like the conflict that's happening within you, or maybe sometimes you observe a conflict between the two of you, but maybe neither of you really know how to communicate that yet. Maybe you don't know how to express it honestly and in a way that doesn't exacerbate conflict, but like rather comes off more like this Queen of Swords, right, from a place of wisdom. And I feel like there is a lot of wisdom actually in that, in not like getting too caught up in your emotions in the moment that you like say things you don't mean, or start conflict that's unnecessary, or come at something from a place that doesn't really serve the purpose that you want to serve by being honest with your feelings and honest with your truth. And yet I also feel like you haven't quite figured out the best way to handle this yet. And so what you're working on is getting more in touch with you're being called upon to get more to get more in touch with your inner truth, and with your truth about like how you feel and how you want to express yourself. And again, I keep getting this, like, there's an epiphany that's happening for you that's on the way that you're just not seeing. Like, there's some clarity, there's something obvious, or it's what it's kind of giving me is, like, I recently, I've been, I was, I watched a video that gave me clarity on something that I've been wondering about, like, what's the next step in how I can, do this thing, how I can learn this thing, or do better at this thing. And then I happened to come across a video that gave me steps that felt like they resonated and were like, this is great, like this is the answer I've been waiting for. It almost feels like there's like an answer that's just on the horizon for you that you've been waiting for, that you just have not quite seen yet because you haven't fully aligned with it. So I would say your first step here is to set the intention, like to acknowledge that this is a dynamic that's happening, right? Where you're like, okay, like I think like our communication is ready to maybe level up a bit. Like, there are some things that are going unexpressed or suppressed that I really want to express and shine and share, things that I want to share with this person, and I don't know how best to do that. So I'm looking for clarity on how I can best do that. So like set the intention, like ask the universe and say, please send me in the perfect time, in the perfect way, clarity on how I can further improve communication between myself and my partner. Something like that. And let it go, and it will come to you. Like the thing will come to you, like the next step, or the perfect moment to say something, or the advice that just hits in the right way, and you'll know. And that's what I'm feeling, right? That there's some kind of advice that you just need to align with, and part of aligning with that is just acknowledging that you want it in the first place, that you're like looking for some clarity here. And like, it's funny because like I'm here to give that advice, but I also feel like it's something that it's going to be so different for everyone here, and like your dynamic is so different that like it's not just, it's like this reading is one piece of it, but there's like another piece that like will come to you in like a weird way. Like maybe you just pick up a book and it has nothing to do with relationships, but there's an interaction between two characters that like triggers something for you, or there's like a video where someone is like just talking about, I don't know, their relationship or something that's interesting to them, and you don't expect it to trigger anything in you, but it brings you that clarity. Like that's what I'm seeing, is that there's an unexpected place that you're finding this clarity, and it's gonna be really individual for everyone. So like honestly, like aside from setting the intention, meditating and clearing the space and being like much less distracted in your day-to-day life. So like whatever you're doing, if you're watching a video, like you're watching that video, like you're paying attention. You're not scrolling on your phone, you're not like half paying attention. Or like if you're reading a book or watching TV, or if you are scrolling on your phone, like you're in it, like you're really taking in what you're taking in. You're not like, your attention isn't divided. Whatever that is, that will help you really make sure that you like key in to whatever this advice is and really feel this epiphany. But it does feel like, yeah, there's like, you're searching for clarity through conflict that is either brewing or potential in your relationship that you want to express. Like, you want, like with this Queen of Swords here, like she's wise, but she also isn't, she's an advisor. She's wise and she gives counsel to people, but only those who seek her out, who come to her. And that's important as well. And so there could be a level at which you both are also being asked to reassess how you communicate with each other. If you also find that, because I was getting the sense that some things go suppressed, but I also was getting the sense that maybe you're also reevaluating your communication styles, because sometimes you feel like maybe you're too blunt or too forthcoming with certain things. Maybe like with this person in this relationship, you jump too quickly to giving advice or telling them what they should do, as opposed to just listening to their feelings or listening to what they have to say. And you're reassessing and reevaluating that, and you're looking for ways to resolve that in your relationship and to improve the communication there, make sure that you're not doing that, making sure that you're creating space for those conversations and wondering the best way to go about that. Again, there's like some element where I feel like you will have a moment of clarity and you'll be like, okay, this is the next thing I want to do. This is how I want to initiate that conversation. This is how I want to change this dynamic going forward. But yeah, it's really all about like actually communicating. And I do feel like for some of you, like it will come in the form of like maybe legit like relationship advice where it's like, oh, here's like a fun exercise you and your partner can do to improve communication. And with the Seven of Cups being on the bottom of the deck, that's also why I'm getting this gist of like the way that this clarity reaches you will be seemingly random, or like from an unexpected place, or at a moment when you least expect it, or maybe from many different places, and you'll be able to like take different tidbits of advice and then put them all together into something that will most benefit your relationship. And for some of you, you might actually want to do this with your partner. Like your first step in initiating this change and in your communication might be like saying to your partner, hey, like, you know what? I feel like we've both been having, some communication issues, or I've been wanting to deepen this relationship and deepen our communication, and I've been looking for ways to do that. Like, want to strategize with me? Like, how do you feel about that? Are you interested in that too? Let's strategize together. Because it does feel like both of you would be willing to work on this together and like interested in approaching this together. And it could be also that you're not necessarily like, it's not like necessarily that your relationship has problems. And again, this can be any kind of relationship, but it's not necessarily that this relationship has problems. It might be more like you are reaching a stage in it where you're like getting closer as people, or you want to improve your communication as people, that like it just naturally requires a certain shift in the way that you interact. And you don't necessarily have to look at it as like, oh, we're dysfunctional. Like maybe for some of you, that's how you feel. Maybe for some of you, you have been having conflict and problems. But for some of you, it also just might be a natural progression of like, we're ready for this, or like, you know what, like even if it's not like a romantic relationship or a friendship that's developing, it could be like, oh, I'm going into business with this person, or like we're taking the next step on this project together, and our communication styles have to change. Our way of going about like talking to each other about our ideas has to change, because we're just at that stage where that shift it naturally has to occur, because what we're doing together in this relationship is changing. So it feels like this is a solid, whether it's new, whether it's on rocky ground at the moment, or whether it's just transitioning to a new phase, it feels like there is something solid about this partnership. It feels like there's mutual intentions to grow together, and it feels like there's mutual intentions to want to share more and to get better at communicating and at being there for each other in the way that you need. So it seems like this is a case where if you bring this to your partner, like they will be very receptive and open. And even if you have to work through some uncomfortable conversations or moments, like they will be, they can work with you. They'll be willing to work with you. And wherever this leads for you, it feels like it will be a good experience for both of you. So, that being said, let's just finish up with some messages from them and then just another message to close out fully. So, we're going to go from their, intend to go from their higher self, just, to get the messages that are like the least biased and most like beneficial to both of you. So these could be messages that sound like exactly like their 3D self, or it could be something that's a little bit more like if they were in their higher self, like all the time, this is how they would feel about this. This is what they would say. But what does group 3's person's higher self want to say to them? What do they want to say to group 3? What does this person's higher self want to say to group 3? Okay, 3 cards. We'll take them. 4 cards. All right. Honestly, most groups have gotten like no less than 3 cards for that part, and so that's fine. And just for an additional message to cap things off for group 3, what is our card to just cap off this message? What's our final piece of advice or insight, or how do we want to cap this off for group 3 and their relationships? Highest good. How do we want to cap off this reading? How do we want to cap off this reading? How do we want to cap off this reading? Anything else for group 3 here? All right, we'll take it. Okay, so first things first, let's look at their messages. So first we have this card here, this little character on it, and it says, don't make me an optimist, you will ruin my life, from Fleabag. So this might be this person characterizing themselves a bit for you, like in confirmation of like, maybe this person tends to be a little bit more cynical or pessimistic, or maybe at the start of this relationship or venture, or since you've met them, they've been a little bit more of a pessimist or whatever, but something about this relationship I do feel like brings out their more optimistic side, and it feels a little cheeky, it feels a little flirty if that resonates with the kind of relationship that you have, but if not, also just in general, like joking around, like, oh no, don't make me into a optimist, you know what I mean? Like, but I also do feel like it affirms the message that this person is equally as optimistic and willing to work on this relationship as you are, no matter what challenges you might encounter. You know, they are optimistic that you can work through that. We also have this card here with the word honor. So honor might be something that's very important to this person. Like you might associate the word honor with this person's personality. But we have fame will come to some. Honor will visit all who work, from The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Fame will come to some. Honor will visit all who work. And they're also, I feel like they are acknowledging that there is honor in doing the work. There is honor in working on this partnership, this relationship, in working together on it, no matter what the outcome is. They are putting out the intention, or at least conveying the message to you, that it's better to put in honest work to a situation, even if it doesn't work out in the way that you intend or the way that you hope in the long run, that the fact that you put that honest work in, first of all, you will have learned and grown, and it will only make your future better, but also you can feel good at the end of the day about, like, you know, we did our best. I did my best. We put our best foot forward, and we did right by each other. And that's what their intention is, I feel, and that is what your intention is with this relationship. To honor each other, to honor yourselves, and to honor the relationship, and do your best. And at the end of the day, like, even if there's bad, difficult moments, if you return to that and you return to how can I honor this myself and put my best foot forward in this moment and honor this other person, even if that honoring means like calling them out, or honoring them means like taking a step back, or vice versa, you know, just setting that intention that honor will be a part of this relationship. And it feels like, again, you would both be on the same page about that. Then we have this card here, these cracks, which says, when people do not want to see something, they get mad at the one who shows them, from The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. So I feel like this is acknowledging as well, like, if there's been conflict with this person where maybe, like, you've said something that they're not ready to hear, or they've said something that you're not ready to hear, this is like an acknowledgement that that's what was going on there, that they understand this on some deeper level, even if, like, not always consciously or fully in their 3D self, but, like, it's acknowledgement of that truth in the situation. But also, again, there was the energy of potentially holding back and also waiting for the right time to share your wisdom, not, like, the idea of, like sometimes people are really, like, the idea of, like, being a solution-oriented person as opposed to someone who's just, like, wants to share their feelings. And maybe both of you tend towards one side or the other. But there's this idea of, like, being more open to just hearing each other's feelings and thoughts rather than trying to fix them or trying to come up with a solution. And maybe one or both of you is learning that. And this is an acknowledgement that that's important in your relationship, is understanding that sometimes you, like, try to fix something for someone when that they're not ready to hear that, or that's not the right opportunity, or they're not looking for that from you right now, and that's okay. And if there is a time and a place that they do want to hear your advice, they will come to you and ask you. You will know that it's welcome and invited. And it's one of the things I feel like you are both working on in this relationship is understanding better what is needed in any given moment and communicating more clearly what you're looking for, or what you need from your partner. And this is acknowledging as well that is a need that either they need to get better at, you need to get better at, but more likely both of you need to get better at it in some way. And also, yeah, like, maybe you have literally had the problem of, like, one or both of you is, like, too quick to just, like, try to point out, like, something that the other person needs to fix, or like, maybe not be honest enough about, like, something that they feel. And, like, it's, like, understanding that your advice is not always going to be well received depending on the context. Understanding that your input is not always going to be well received. And learning, yeah. I mean, basically what I just said. I don't know why I'm saying it again. And then we have this card here. You are something that the whole universe is doing in the same way that a wave is something that the whole ocean is doing, from Alan Watts. So this is very, like, philosophical kind of message. Maybe this person is deeply philosophical, but even if they don't really, like, delve into that very often, I do feel like this is acknowledging, like, that I feel like this relationship, it feels like if anything, like, you both are functioning as a unit. And so this is them acknowledging, like, they are one part in something bigger, and that this relationship is a combination of the two of you, a culmination of both of your energies and things like that. And it's kind of like acknowledging that it's not just one of you dragging this relationship along, or it's not one of you against the other. It's you, both of you together. And this commitment to, like, thinking of this relationship holistically rather than as two different parts, and saying, like, how can we make this, like, big picture, how can we make this the best it can be for both of us? Again, this sense of honor, this sense of really being part of something, the sense of taking yourself into account as much as they take themselves into account, and vice versa. It's very sweet, and also very practical and pragmatic in a certain way. And it's, I don't know, I'm really enjoying this combination of both energies. Maybe you both kind of embody this, or one brings the, like, sweet romance and the other person brings the practicality, and you're both learning how to, integrate both in each other, whatever it is. I just do feel like there's this, like, two parts coming together to form a greater whole. Not that, like, you're both whole. You're both entire, I feel, in how you think about yourselves and consider yourselves, but also acknowledging that when you both come together and create this relationship, you're creating a new whole, something new that you're both also a part of. And thinking of it in that way, I feel like is going to help you really continue to improve and solidify your relationship for what it is. And also, it makes sense in the sense that if you are business partners, like, you're coming together, or, like, partners in a project, you are coming together with your individual ideas and creating something from that. Something completely separate, yet also part of you, and you're part of it. And then we have this card here to close out the reading and cap things off. This nice like purple color. And it says, "It's okay that you're not okay. Whatever you're feeling is okay." From Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. Yeah, which really goes back to this idea of like both of you learning how to communicate your feelings more, and maybe also like be less critical or less like quick to give advice or judge or fix things, but be open more to expressing your feelings and having the other person receive them and listen to them, and vice versa, and just having that be a therapeutic experience you can have with each other, knowing that there's a time and place for growth and a time and place for solutions, but there's also a time and place for just expressing how you feel and just letting it out and being honest about it without needing to fix it immediately, knowing that feelings don't need to be fixed, they need to be felt, and situations can be fixed or changed or solved in some way, but that might not always be what you need from each other in the moment. And so that's what you're both learning, I feel like, is that whatever you're feeling is okay. And it's okay it's okay when you're not okay. And also learning as well to open up to one another when you're not feeling okay might be something that, again, might be a natural progression of your relationship, but might not come so naturally to you. And so it's okay that it will take however much time it takes for you to start feeling like you're more comfortable with that, like you're both doing that as effectively as you can. Okay, group 3. Well, I hope that resonated. I hope you enjoyed that reading. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear how this resonated with you. Please, I'm very curious if you are willing to share, if you're open to sharing what the nature of this relationship is. If you're like, I'm just curious because, you know, it feels like it's very particular and very deep and very close, no matter what kind of relationship it is. Quite lovely. So with that being said, yeah, if you're interested also in personal reading, we do offer those on sunflowerphilosophy.com. The link is in the description. And I work with my mom, and we're both certified consulting hypnotists. So if you're interested in hypnosis services or human design, which my mom does, then you are also free to check that out in our links. Thanks again for watching Group 3. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi, Group 4. If you chose this caramel color, then you are in the right place, and this is your reading all about a relationship that you're seeking to improve or deepen. And this could be someone that you're currently having some conflict with or confusion with, or it could just be a relationship that you're curious about. How can I improve it? How can I make it deeper? How can I grow it? Either way, what we're going to do is we're going to flip over this card and get just like an overarching like theme or like the biggest thing that's coming through for you that can help you improve this relationship. And then we'll go get into the tarot, find more details about what you can do to improve this relationship. And then we'll get some messages from their higher self from my handmade quote cards, you know, the person in question that you're asking about. And then we'll get just a message from the quote cards as well to just cap off, just the final ending message. So with that being said as well, I wanted to say, I didn't say this in the intro and I meant to, but this can be about any kind of relationship. So like, it doesn't have to be like romantic or anything like that. I just know sometimes that's like the first thing that people think of, but it's any kind of relationship, and I try to keep it very open. So with that being said, let's flip over your Astro Oracle card and get into it. So group 4, you got number 17, Solar Flares with Activate. And I also want to say, actually, before we get into this card, with caramel being the color that you chose, immediately the song by Sleep Token, Caramel, came into my head. So maybe that's just like a significant song to you, or maybe someone in this group likes that band, or the person that you're asking about likes that band. There's also messages around potential like stage fright, or being a public persona. Maybe for some of you, I just got like maybe the person you're asking about either like doesn't know you exist, like maybe this is like a quote unquote parasocial relationship, or maybe it's like the other way around, like, or maybe it's like a relationship between like a person and their fans in general, you or someone else, I don't know. That's not going to be for everyone, but that is coming through. And with Solar Flares Activate, number 17, there's something about inspiration or motivation here. but it's like activate. You're meant to initiate something in this relationship, whether that's contact, whether that's an idea that you have that you want to share with this person, whether that's initiating a new stage of the relationship, if that makes sense in the context that we're talking about, or initiating a conversation, or like just like floating something, putting something on the table, right? And this could be in so many different contexts. Like I'm getting like, of course, like initiating some kind of like relationship or relationship change in a romantic sense. I'm getting initiating a conversation that you feel like needs to be had with a family member, or a discussion in like a I don't know, a book club, or like a social club that you attend, or a social group that you're in. Initiating a fun project or idea with a friend. Things like that. Like there's something that you're meant to initiate to start with this person. Or people that you have in mind. And there could be some fear as well of like putting it out there, putting your ideas out there, being seen, being understood in a deeper way, which whatever you're looking to initiate might require you to do. So let's get more information for group 4 then. How can group 4 improve or deepen this relationship? Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, initiating, starting something new. How can group 4 improve this relationship? The World. Ace of Pentacles and the World. Like, that's a full cycle. That's something coming to completion. That's a lot of cards. We're not going to take them all. Okay. How can group 4 improve or strengthen this relationship they have in mind? 9 of Pentacles. Wow, okay. How can group 4 improve or strengthen this relationship that they have in mind? Upright or reverse? 2 of 3. One more, 2 of 3. Okay, upright. Temperance. This came out all together. Temperance, 10 of Cups, and the Hierophant. And you know what? 9 of Cups on the bottom of the deck. We're going to leave it at that. Wow, really interesting. Okay, so there's a lot of potential in this relationship, or in whatever you're looking to initiate with this person, that may or may not have to do with your relationship, or could have to do with some kind of project or venture that you could go into together. There's a lot of potential here. There's potential for success, for happiness, for fulfillment, for abundance, like financial abundance. Like definitely for some of you, this is like some kind of project that can bring you a good amount of success and like money, like self, like even if it's like obviously this is involving another person or people, because and this is the only group where I'm getting the urge to say people, like there's more than one person involved, like one other person involved in this. So like it could be a group. This could be a group. Maybe even in your community, like starting a group. Like if you're someone who's like, I really wish that there was a community centered around this thing, you are being asked to be the one to start the thing and initiate that with people in your circle or people in your community, or create a community that people can join. Wow. Yeah. And that makes sense with the Sleep Token song Caramel coming through, because that is kind of about like the singer's like success and like fame and like the anxiety and fear and like just like the attention that's come with it. And I got the sense that there could be some hesitation to initiate something like that, because it's whether you're like starting a project with someone else, or even if you're starting a relationship, like, you know, there could be a level of like, maybe this person that you're initiating contact with or a relationship with is like in the public eye, and you're like not sure if you want to do that, or is at a certain like level in society and you're like not sure if you're like ready for that kind of scrutiny. At the same time, it also can be about like a business or a project that you're starting with someone else that could gain you a lot of notoriety, or you could become well known from, that could bring a lot of attention to you in some way, and you're like hesitating because you're afraid of that. Or like literally like you are being the one to start a community or something, like again being the head of some kind of community, starting something like that brings more people into your vicinity, brings you into the public eye more. So like there might be some hesitation and fear around the potential consequences of that. But I would say that in this case, it seems like the potential like the potential like positive outcomes of this are being highlighted here and seem to far outweigh anything that could potentially like go wrong or not be the great about this. Like Ace of Pentacles to the world, like that's a full, like that's like all the potential in the world. That's what I'm seeing. Like so much potential here for something to grow big, for you to gain a certain level of stability out of this, maybe even like literal financial worth, but also maybe even self-worth. And then there's also this balance between like I see this balance like Temperance with this 10 of Cups and Hierophant being like a balance between like a happy personal life and like a well-respected like public life, public or teaching life. Like public, and when I say public, it doesn't have to be like you're a celebrity or you're like really famous. It could be like in your community, you're a bit of a public figure. Things like a community leader, someone who is considered a spiritual leader, a teacher, an organizer of some kind, maybe even on some kind of board of trustees. That's specific, but that came through. Maybe even politically for some of you. But there's like a balance between a happy home life and a thriving public life, and being able to maintain that balance between your personal life and your public life. And so if you are concerned about being able to balance those things, this is not only saying that like it's possible, and in all likelihood you will be able to achieve like a decent balance for yourself. You know, there's always going to be things that might come up here and there, but it feels like overall you'll be able to maintain and achieve that balance, but also that you can build that into your plan. You can do your best to set yourself up in a way where you can maintain that balance. And you might not always be able to predict the best ways in which to do that, but set forward that intention and trust that it's possible and it's something that you can work with. And with the 9 of Cups being on the bottom of the deck, that's overall just like personal satisfaction, personal happiness, like achieving that and sharing that with other people, right? With this 10 of Cups, like you're sharing, your cup is overflowing. You're like so satisfied with what you're doing. You're so abundant and successful in what you're doing. Like I get the sense like whatever you're doing, whatever you're sharing has the potential to both help people and bring people happiness and satisfaction, and then also bring you a lot of happiness and satisfaction in what you're doing, and then also like material wealth as a side effect. And that's really what I'm seeing here. So yeah, it's like that. Yeah, initiate the thing, activate the thing, inspire the people. I'm seeing that this could be about you and someone who have the ability to go into this venture together, but then also it's about you and your relationship with the other people you'll be inspiring. Well, that's a new word. Inspiring and activating is what I meant to say. It's like that relationship as well. Like in order to improve that relationship, like you got to initiate the thing. And maybe you already have a bit of a community that you've built, or maybe you're already putting yourself out there in some way, and it's really just about getting bigger and reaching more people and really growing. And I feel like there are ideas or steps that you could take to grow your community, to get bigger, to reach more people. And it's, again, you're the one who has to initiate that contact, that trust. I just heard as well, that like develop that relationship with a broader community. And so there's steps that you can take to do that. And it's like you're being asked to take that next step, to put that idea out there that you haven't tried yet, to put that post out, create that community group, create that program, create that art project that you want to share and then share it, create that social media platform, that YouTube channel that you haven't created yet, right? And this is saying, like, that's going to help you grow. That's what's going to get your word out there. Like, the ideas that you have been hesitating on because you're afraid of, like, maybe you're afraid they won't work, but maybe part of you is more afraid that they will work. And it's time to basically acknowledge that fear, understand that it's a valid fear, but also, like, what's really more important, right? Like, you never know, even if you get some things you didn't bargain for in the next venture of your life, it feels like you're ready for those things. And it also feels like staying safe, quote unquote, isn't really worth it anymore to you. And there's so much more. There's so much more value that you can bring not only to yourself, but to other people by taking the risk and by putting yourself out there. And so it is time, baby. It is time to find your audience and or Well, yeah, I feel like even if you are working with someone else and this is about your relationship with a specific person, like you are both finding your audience together, or you're both finding like more community with others. Like there's some way in which you're working together in a way that will do that. Maybe even it could even be in a workplace where you're like improving your relationship with all of your employees, or people who work under you, or the people who work with you, your coworkers and things like that. But whatever it is, like you have an idea, you have something you want to put out there, you have something you want to share, you have something you want to do, and it's like I see it like exploding, getting bigger, being like this really big thing that again like brings a lot of happiness, brings a lot of learning and teaching to you, to others, and also it's possible for you, yes, to maintain your balance between like you putting yourself out there and being that teacher and leader in whatever way that you are, and also you just having your own personal life and living your own life and being happy and just being satisfied with what you got. It is possible. It can happen. You don't have to be like Sleep Token. That being said, it is funny because Sleep Token, like they do have like masks and stuff, so they did put a foot forward in order to attempt to maintain their personal lives, and yet it sounds like they still didn't you get to a certain level and it's really hard to maintain that. And so there is an extent to which you have to, I feel like, accept the potential consequences of your actions, and just accept that like and you might not be prepared for all of it again, but accept that you have the ability to learn through it, to grow through it, and also that your story doesn't have to be exactly the same as someone else's. So the worst examples are not necessarily going to be your experience, and the best examples you might not have even heard of, because they might be people who like really have like a really good, like you might not even think of them, because you're more likely to think of the potential dangers as opposed to the examples that show you that it could be safe, it could be great, it could be fine. And so that's something to keep in mind as well. If you find yourself getting too caught up in like what could go wrong, make sure that you are also redirecting yourself towards, well, it could go right too, and the only way to find out is to find out. Just do it. Maybe some of you don't even have like these conscious fears. It could just come up a bit subconsciously for you, like you wonder why you're hesitating, and it might just be because you have some subconscious fears that might just stop you from making that move. But I do feel like that is coming to an end for you. That's coming to an end for you, especially with the World card here. Like I feel like you've completed some kind of cycle with that and you are ready. Like I feel like you're ready. It's just a matter of like when and how you initiate this, but you're gonna do it. So cool. So now let's get a message from your other person. Whether they're like working with you in this capacity, they're the one who's going to help bring you this audience, or I mean, I do feel like for a lot of you this is about some kind of like broader community influence that you will eventually have. But if it is like also stemming from a more personal relationship, it could be also about like the infinite potential and happiness that this relationship could bring you, but also feeling like you have to be seen on a deeper level to get closer with this person, and having some hesitation over that, but ultimately like again like the potential outcomes of that and the learnings that you'll get from that outweighing those fears. But either way, I do feel like this is a group that has like public potential. That being said, okay, message from this person's from group 4's person or persons for that they have for them. This is gonna be from their higher self, so we can get like the highest messages of that are in the highest good of yourself and whatever relationship this is and whatever venture that you have going on. So what are the messages that this person's higher self has for group 4, or these people's higher self? What messages do they have for group 4, please? Ooh. Oh my gosh. We got one card out. I will just shuffle it up one more time. What? Okay, well that's a lot. That's a lot. Is that too many? Nah, I'm gonna take them. It feels like we need them. All right. And then I'm just gonna get one more from this pile. That will be our message to close out. So is there any additional message to close out this reading for group 4 once we get through all of it? What message will close out this reading, please? We'll put a nice little cap on it. Yes, that makes total sense. Glad to see you out here. All right. Let's start with their messages. This person or people. We have this card here, and we have always be reading something, he said, even when we're not physically reading. How else will we read the world? Think of it as a constant. From Autumn by Ali Smith. Very specific, but maybe some of you are like readers or like want to be a tarot reader of some kind or something like that, or something to do with reading people. So it could be about putting yourself out there in that way, or the person you're asking about is someone you can collaborate with on that. But also, there's something about the way that always be reading something, he said, even when we're not physically reading. How else will we read the world? Think of it as a constant. It's like there's always like something about your perspective. Something about your perspective is valued by this person or these people. And I feel like maybe some of you might like literally read or like I said, read tarot or read just like books a lot. And this person or these people value that. Maybe there's something to do with literature actually that is part of this venture that you want to take part in, or something that you want to do. Or maybe this is your ideal audience, people who are always reading, people who read the world, who like are voracious in the way that they take things in. We also have this card here with, had she really thought the world didn't change? She was a fool. The world was made of miracles. From Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Yeah, that makes sense, because it feels like whatever this is a big life-changing thing. It's something that can grow and flourish, and relationship, or also the thing that you're creating in the relationship, or whatever it is, like, it has, yeah, like, if you think it's too lofty, if you think it's impossible, it's not, and you'll be surprised. We have this card with if only, if only. If only, if only, the woodpecker sighs. The bark on the tree was as soft as the skies, while the wolf waits below, hungry and lonely, crying to the moon. If only, if only. From Holes by Louis Sachar. Yeah, and this is like, again, like I feel like this is related to some big dreams you have, and there might be, again, hesitation, like, oh, if only this, if only that. No, we're doing it. We're activating it. We're starting it. We're taking action here. That's what I'm feeling, right? There's no more dwelling on this. These people are, and maybe there's also this person or these people might also be thinking, oh, if only this could happen. If only this person would, was interested in me, or was interested in this project, or if only this thing existed that you can only be the one to create. It's like this person, it might be thinking if only, and you're the answer to their if only, right? And it's like you initiating this thing, you putting yourself out there, or you being the one to initiate this like conversation or something like that is going to let them know like, oh no, what they've been wishing for is actually a possibility. It's like, it's a reality. It's like you make that exist. We have this card, and it says, life was like a box of timelines. You feel me? From Russian Doll by Nadia. Yeah, and so you might find yourself getting caught up in like, what's the right path or the right way to do this? Is there one way that's best, or, you know, is this the right person to work with, or is this the right idea to pursue? Is this the right audience to create for? And this is acknowledging, and this is this person or these people acknowledging that, like, there are a lot of different ways you can go about this. There are a lot of different ways that this can play out. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't pick one. I'm getting kind of, like, vibes from, like group 2, I feel like, was the group that had to make a decision, or some kind of decision they would make. And I feel like for you, your decision is different. It's not necessarily, like, one thing or another. It's more like just when and how you do this, when and how you initiate this. But it's like, you do something, right? Like, make the decision to start. Like, there's something, like, you have no choice. Like, you're going to start something. You're going to initiate some kind of change here. It's just a matter of, like, when and how you do it. And it's going to happen in one way or another. But again, like, it might play out in many different ways. Trust that whatever way it plays out for you will be the best way that it can. And just set the intention that it will. And just affirm that for yourself. Make it real. We also have this card, because they have so many fucking cards. Which, sorry, I didn't mean to swear, but, like, that might be, there might be so many cards for you, because maybe there's, like, more than one person here who has messages for you. So we have Everywhere's a Here, Isn't It? From Winter by Ali Smith. Which is an acknowledgement in the context of that story of, like, different perspectives, and each person kind of being the center of their own world. And sometimes we think of things as here versus there. Like if I'm here, I'm not there. It's like an us versus them, right? So I'm part of an us, then that means there must be a them. Us is not like them. Them are not like us. But I feel like there's something in this that again, like it feels like it's people or just like a person who's like acknowledging that like your perspective, the thing that you bring to them, like shows them, like opens their world, broadens their horizons, helps them feel seen and heard by someone who might at face be very different from them. Like it feels like a far-reaching thing. Like like you're connecting with someone who's very different from you, or on the surface might seem very different from you, but you're bringing these two seemingly different people together, yourself and another person, or you're creating a community that brings people who thought they were so different together and helping them understand and see the humanity in each other more deeply and understand each other more deeply. That's what I'm feeling here. Then we have all these words here: delightful, serendipitous, hope, caustic, hypnotic, optimistic, love. I'm not going to read them all. Lots of words, though. And the quote is words, words, words from Hamlet by William Shakespeare. So yeah, whatever you're initiating here, I feel like it does have to do with your words, the words that you choose, the words that you write, the words that you speak. In some way, you're going to influence people with your words. Even if it's, again, like specifically one person, if there's a relationship here, like your words are important, the words that you choose, the words that you use, and you are the one speaking, you are the one initiating that vocally. There's something with words. I also got the example of like a writer, someone who chooses their words carefully in writing, writes a blog, writes a book, whatever it is. Again, like those words reach people and really touch them deeply. The words that you use, the words that you speak. Words might be very important to you. And then we have this card here with, it's the job that's never started as takes longest to finish. The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. Yeah, basically, I've been saying, like, this is about starting something. This is about activating something. This is about getting the job started. Yeah, it's the job that's never started as takes longest to finish. That's why, instead of getting caught up in, like, what's the right move, what's the right time, just start. Just do something. And it will unfold. It will unfold more rapidly maybe than you expect. But speaking of unfolding, and that's also this person or people being like, I feel like they're impatient for you, like whether subconsciously or if there's someone who knows you, like maybe there's a level of consciousness to it, but even like they might not know even that you were going to initiate this thing with them, like, but there's some part of them that's like impatient for this change, really wants this change to happen in a good way, like in a really good way. And I feel like, again, you are the one to bring it about. So then we have this card here with this like little sprout growing up out of the ground. Speaking of unfolding, like, and the Ace of Pentacles as well makes me think of like a seed that's about to sprout. And we have so many pentacles here with earth energy, and it's like, yeah, like there's something that is growing, unfolding, and like seeds start out and grow slowly, but then eventually like all of a sudden there's like, there's nothing, and then the next day there's a sprout, and then all of a sudden there's leaves, and then there's buds, and then there's flowers, and maybe there's fruits or vegetables, it's like, and that's the kind of growth that we're talking about, exponential growth. And this says, creativity, like human life itself, begins in darkness. The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. This is a reminder that if you get started and what you're doing doesn't immediately reach a bunch of people, you still started, and you're still, it's like the seed, you're still in the process of unfolding, you're sprouting. But also that if you've been, this idea has been percolating for a while, or this wish, this dream, this hope, this thing that you want to initiate has been percolating for a while, that's the darkness that it began in. So it's been germinating, this seed, and it's just about time for it to sprout. And really, it's like up to you. Any day now, it can sprout. And so just know that like it might start out small. It might, even if you were initiating something, like it doesn't have to be like you come fully formed with this whole idea of like, okay, this is what I want to start and this is where it's going to go. It might just be one step in that direction, but it's the next step. So just take the step, right? And this thing, these ideas that you have, like, they might still be in darkness for a little while. Like, you might not be able to fully put out everything that you want to put out right away. But just because they're sitting back there in the darkness doesn't mean they're not growing. And eventually they will sprout. Eventually their time will come. So keep planting the seeds. Keep nurturing them, watering them. Keep like, keep one foot, I'm getting also one foot in front of the other, from, it's funny because like a similar message came through in group 2, but a different song came through with like a similar vibe, but this is like, one foot in front of the other from like the Rankin and Bass like Christmas specials, like the one with the wizard when he can't walk and it's like put one foot in front of the other. Yeah, that one. So if you want to like look that up, I'm sure you can find it if you search like Rankin and Bass one foot in front of the other or something like that. The Winter Wizard. But that's the vibe I'm getting. And so yeah, like, ooh, but this is really, really fun. Lots of potential here. So much growth is about to happen, and all it takes is just like one spark to initiate it from you. This could even be about your relationship with the universe at large, honestly. And like you being willing to take that one leap of faith, that one step forward, and the universe showing you the path as it unfolds. Yeah. All right, group 4. Thank you for watching. That is all I have for your message, so I hope it resonated. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear from you about how this resonated, and if you feel comfortable sharing, I would love to hear more about like what it is that you are thinking about initiating, what it is that you're activating, and what does this have to do, like what kind of relationship were you asking about? Was it what you expected, or did this kind of become something you didn't expect? Does it still resonate? Like, I'm really curious. And yeah, if you're interested in personal readings, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. The link is in the description. And my mom and I are certified consulting hypnotists, so if you're interested in hypnosis or in human design services, which my mom does, then you can also check out the links to our website and yeah, look into those as well. But thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye!